now let's move on to WandaVision. Wow. I mean, just wow. I mean, like, and I'm not saying wow facetiously or anything. It was really quite fun for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, and 5 minutes in, and I couldn't help but just kind of like noticing myself how much I'm smiling watching this.
I laughed out loud several times. So we're gonna do non-spoiler reviews here for the first 2 episodes, and then we are going to release on Tuesday or Wednesday our audio commentary for the first 2 weeks. It's only going to be on Patreon. We're not going to turn that on. So that'll be for all tiers. So like for $2, you can get our weekly commentary for WandaVision, and then we'll pick another show to do after this if it goes well, which I'm excited to do because like I'm going to totally MST3K this. I told Daryl I'm going to make fun of it, and he clapped back at me on the text. You will not make fun
of Wanda.
I would never make fun of Wanda.
Mm-hmm. That is something that would have fit right into that show.
100%. You know. Okay. So real quick. So WandaVision stars obviously Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. Deborah Jo Rupp from That 70s Show is on there.
That's who she is. Okay.
Fred Meeland, who has been in a ton of stuff. He's like one of those that guy actors. Mm-hmm. He was on a Hulu original show called Casual. I highly recommend watching that one. Catherine Hahn, who I love. If you've seen the Bad Moms movies, she was in We're the Millers. She's got a show. It was a 1-season show on HBO called Mrs. Fletcher. Love her. She's hilarious. She was in Bad Words with Jason Bateman, mm-hmm. about the adult who goes through the spelling bee because he dropped out in 8th grade. Anyway, and then Teyonah, is that how you say that?
Teyonah Parris.
Yeah, Teyonah Parris, who is Monica Rambeau, who is the grown-up little girl from Captain Marvel. You got Kat Denning coming back from the Thor character Darcy. She played, and Randall Park as the FBI agent from Ant-Man. Yeah.
What was age? Is it Agent Kim?
I don't remember.
Oh,
so he was just really funny.
I actually meant to look it up.
So, but yeah. Anyway, all right. So they just titled these Episode 1, Episode 2. I didn't see like episode names for them yet.
I didn't either,
and I didn't watch it at like 3 a.m. like I do The Mandalorian. So, but so for this week they did 2 episodes to kind of kick it off because it's kind of a 2-parter. Like, not, right. I mean, a little bit, not really, but they did 2 episodes, and then next week it'll be 1, and so on and so forth. Just 1 episode for the next few weeks. Okay, so in episode 1, it just kind of kicks off in this town of Westville, and it's in the 50s, and it's Wanda and Viz living together, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, but they're still trying to act like they're a normal 50s couple.
Yeah.
Which was really funny, and you know, she's being telekinetic, he's being a super android and phasing through things and whatnot.
And like before we started, I was talking about how it's such a reminder to some of those shows from the 50s and 60s, which again, neither one of us are that old, but we both would watch.
Yeah, I mean, we watched the reruns when we were kids after school. It's very I Dream of Jeannie, like you said.
Bewitched.
Yes.
Like,
it's an amazing cross between the two, to be honest.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And that's like, especially getting like, once I got kind of my feet wet with the first one and watching it to the second one, that's what I saw is that mix of those 2 shows, because I mean, Jeannie, Bewitched, and that's Wanda, and the dialogue is straight up out of a show great. From the 50s,
and her the 50s housewife voice.
Yeah.
Hello, dear. It's just like
they have the thing I can't stand. I won't watch sitcoms now that have laugh tracks.
Well, yeah,
but for this,
it's ironic.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Funny aside, Sports Night. Do you remember that show? It was on ABC.
Yes.
If you went to Miami of Ohio, like Daryl and I did, watch Sports Night, and Millette Hall anytime they show a basketball game, it's either a guys or girls basketball game in Hall on the screen. I always find that awesome. But Sports Night had a laugh track for like the first 6 episodes, and they're like, yeah, no, we don't need this. So, no, so they're a couple, and Vision goes off to work, and Scarlet Witch, as our Wanda, is at home, and there's a heart drawn on the calendar, and she has no idea what it's
and
for.
It's like they start off like, oh, I know what it is, but I think you forgot what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just that play where two people, and again, this is one of those things you saw in those old shows, you know, that kind of like that back and forth where they don't want to admit that they have no idea what's going on. And it kind of plays into the whole the overarching theme of they actually don't know what's going on.
Right. But she ends up thinking it's their anniversary because it's a heart.
Yeah.
And it turns out his boss and his boss's wife, played by Fred Meeland and Deborah Jo Rupp, the Hearts, are coming over for dinner. And he drew the heart as an abbreviation. And her line to respond to that, she said, "You fly at supersonic speed and I'm magic," or something like that. Yeah. And why do we need abbreviations? Yeah. So I thought that was great. I did love him working at Computational Services Inc. And he finished all of his work in just like a second.
It's like, since you've been around, productivity has gone up 300%.
Yep. And I love the guy's like, "Wow, you're like a computer." Nope, no, I'm a non-computer human man.
And like totally organic.
So, and just the little like jokes like, "Oh, well, yes, I'm married to a human man."
and the other thing that captures the essence of these 50 shows is how they, it's their posture as far as not quite looking at the camera, but almost like when you're in a play, you have to face the audience.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of, I'm facing the audience.
They're not breaking the fourth wall.
Right.
But
yeah, exactly.
And then you kind of get the idea that like nobody's supposed to be there. Like it's this cool little undertone, and we'll get into more of that in the commentary. But yeah, so it's really cool. Catherine Hahn is trying to help her be a housewife. But my favorite part of the show was when they sat down to dinner with the Harts, and Mrs. Hart says, where are you from? How'd you meet? When'd you get married? Why don't you have kids yet? Yeah. And it was like, wow, that's such the 50s thing to say to a new couple.
Right.
But yeah, and it's all in black. It was all in black and white. It was all in the 4:3 aspect ratio, which it worked. It really worked.
Yeah.
It's still high def. I mean, it's still like super crisp and clear. It's 4K actually. But yeah, and so that was really, really good. And then the episode ends with someone watching them.
Right.
And it's like, and there's a couple of familiar logos that you're going to see as Easter eggs throughout the episode. So episode 1 was written by or directed by Matt Shankman, and was written by Jack Sheffer, and I think she's the showrunner.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's short for Jackie or Jacqueline. Yeah, she's the showrunner. So it was I felt like it was a really good pilot. I mean, it's not like the Supernatural pilot, don't get me wrong, but it was a really good way to like introduce us to this trippy, weird world. And it was really, really, I felt like it was really, really well written.
Oh, absolutely.
So it did everything it needed to do to introduce me to the world, show me what was happening without like beating me over the head with it, and then bam, got right into the story.
And totally different show, but that plays on a sort of nostalgia like this does. Different type. Cobra Kai does the same thing.
Yeah, but Cobra Kai is like real nostalgia.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, no, this is absolutely real nostalgia. Thought you banged your head there.
No, I had to stretch out my back.
Like in the sense of not from a common property, but just an overall theme of this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can get on
But
board
to your
with that.
point about how it doesn't beat you over the head, like it does such a good job of it captures that joy from those 50s type shows that where you just can't help but smile while you watch it. So it was a very good pilot.
Yeah.
And like I said, 5 minutes in, I just said out loud, I'm just like loving this.
Right. And so the first episode takes place in the 50s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then moving into episode 2, which was also directed by Matt Shackman, and this time written by Gretchen Enders. This takes place in the 60s. They did a time jump, and they're more in with being a family or being a couple, and she's going to join the neighborhood women's group with the amazing Emma Caulfield Ford. Anyanka from Buffy. Rest in power, Anya. Anyway, but yeah, it was really good. They're going to perform a magic show at the town kids charity show. It's very funny. Vision gets the works gummed up, so to speak, and he's acting drunk and kind of off his game. Do you have notes?
Yeah.
Okay. And just Wanda is fixing everything as he keeps trying to blow their cover, essentially.
Yeah, and one of the things I liked is when you were talking about the whole gummed up is how they bring in that classic animation style to show, the internal workings of whatever.
It's like the electric company.
Yeah. So it kind of some of the part of me reminded me of Jurassic Park when they're going through the.
And that's how you make a baby dinosaur.
So yeah, and there was a very you're talking about the women's group. There's a very Stepfordy Wives feel.
There absolutely is, and again, because none of this is apparently real, and it's funny because you see a couple glitches in the Matrix,
right?
And it's really, really cool. There's a cool thing that happens with one of the radios, but the magic show is really, really good. And then at the end of the episode, it jumps to the 70s and something else big happens that we're not going to spoil. Mm-hmm. But just this was just meant to be kind of a real quick kind of review / what do you want to call it, highlight
right
of but yeah, so check out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Just check it out. Check out our Patreon, Infamous Podcast. Go to infamouspodcast.com. You can click on the Patreon link or go to patreon.com/infamouspodcast. Either way works. And yeah, so for as little as $2 a month, you can get all 8 of the commentaries.
Pretty great. And highly recommend giving this show a watch.
Definitely watch this show. I will give it a solid 4.5 No More Mutants out of 5.
I was gonna say 4, about 4 capes out of 5.
That works too.